And it doesn't seem to be working really well. And I'm freaking out. And the voice in my head is like, I can't hear anything but the voice in my head. And I don't know if any one of you have experienced this, but I went through about 2.5 weeks of waking up every morning and being like, what's the point? I don't have a husband who's around. My family's not even here. I don't, why am I didn't know what my purpose in life was, or I didn't think I knew what my purpose in life was. What am I fighting for? And it's a pretty horrible place to be in. The football schedule runs our small college town in the autumn. That Saturday, after my first week of not talking to Dr. Roth, who, my holistic doctor, ended up getting cancer, which was an interesting twist on this whole story, I visited a local nursery for the October perennial sales. George was at the football game with other residents. I pull into the parking lot. What's the point? I'm going to be dead by next spring anyway. I force myself out of the car to walk between the rows of plants. The sun is shining down. There are couples strolling among the trees and hostas. Why buy anything? I won't be alive to see it take hold. Despair creeps into my stomach, my spleen, my liver. My shoulders crawl up to my ears. Standing between rows of Japanese maples, I stop walking and start to cry. This is completely futile. I am alone. I'm going to die. Where the hell is George? He only has 4 days off a month, and one of them he's at a stupid football game. I dial George's number. The noise of the crowd fills the phone. Hey, babe, where are you? Did you have a chance to go to the nursery? You sound so cheerful. Poor man. He never has a chance to relax and be with his boys. I'm about to ruin it for him. Whatever! This was his choice of professions. I'm at Eden Nursery, and I can't buy anything. I feel futile and hopeless. There's no point. I'll be dead by next spring. I cry harder. Oh no, please don't say that. I think the cancer is winning. I'm not quite sure I can fight anymore. I feel as though I'm failing with my positive thinking and the pressure to be positive and hope and trust. It's just making everything harder. I'm going to die. There's no point in fighting. Game's almost over. I'll be home soon. I walk back to the car and head home. I sit on the couch and grab the dog, rocking him back and forth in my lap as I weep. I'm going to die. I hate to break this to you all, but we're all going to die. But you could kind of tell from the scene that, first of all, it's the internal voice, right? Italics. Second of all, I made them capital. Capital. So here we have me, semi-rational. Here we have me, totally irrational. Remember that scene of Homer Simpson and the angel and the devil? Right? Same idea. The rational you, the like feared, scared, totally losing its, you're not really cogent. So I told my father, who's a lawyer, that I would do 6 months of chemotherapy and that I would do 6 months of alternative medicine. And that worked well for him because he likes, like things in compartments. After about 5.5 months of alternative treatments in Ann Arbor, doing vitamin C, taking lots and lots of pills, and etc., it wasn't working. And so I had to figure out, oh God, do I want to do the bone marrow transplant where they fill you with mustard gas and I have to be in a hospital, or do I want to go to Tijuana, Mexico? And I decided to go to Tijuana, Mexico. And I think part of the reason, despair. Part of the reason I wanted to do that is I was angry at my husband, at the Western world, at the system that took him away from me, at the system that said that you could go in and give someone lots of chemotherapy and kill their white blood cells and then ask those same white blood cells to clean up the mess from the chemotherapy. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. I wanted something holistic. I know that there's like a lot of buzzwords about, I don't know, there's just a lot out there and it's really confusing, but I wanted to do something that would take care of my whole body and not just attack one part of it. I was like, well, where did the cancer come from? I want to learn where it comes from. Like, maybe there's something I can do that'll make sure it never comes back again. And I also kind of wanted us to escape. And I'm not quite sure. I realized I've really honed in on this working recently, was that I wanted to get out of taking care of my husband and being sick and having to be in charge of my own life. I wanted someone else to take care of me. And I saw Mexico as a chance to do that. I'm explaining to George why I'm going to go to Mexico and when I'm going to go to Mexico. George, I'm sorry. I know this isn't fair to you. I'm just trying to talk through what I'm feeling. I can only imagine that it's difficult to hear your wife is thinking it would be better for her health to leave. I just feel so trapped. I want to feel like I'm moving forward with something that'll work. I read about these people who get diagnosed and go and live in a hut for the woods eating nothing but raw milk and acorns, and they come back healed. And there are stories like that out there. Oh, I cured my cancer by eating beets for 1.5 years, and I said, screw the doctors. And you're like, oh, maybe, you're grasping at anything that'll work. So I was like, I want to get out of Dodge. So I went to Mexico. And before I got to Mexico, I realized that the voices in my head were getting to such a problem that I couldn't function. So at the advice of a very dear friend, I sat down and wrote out what all the different parts were saying. So I wrote out, you're crazy to go to Mexico, you're absolutely nuts, what are you thinking? I wrote out, yes, but what if it works? I wrote out, you know what, miracles happen all the time, you just have to pay attention. I wrote out, how can we trust the body? It was the one that got you sick in the first place, like why are you even listening to what it has to tell you? And I realized through doing that I was able to take a step back from the emotions, because I hate to say it, for me, getting sick, you hear the word cancer, you feel like you've got the plague. Like people use, and oh God, and everyone you hear wants to tell you, oh, my sister, my brother, my uncle, my aunt. Everybody knows someone. The statistics are horrible. You all probably know someone, if not very close to you. And just to have some separation from the emotion was very important to me. So I go to Mexico, and the first thing that the doctor tells me because I'm taking this medication, which is totally illegal in this country, different types of things from the periodic table, Laetrile, which they banned in the 80s, it's also known as vitamin B17, live cell therapy, I don't know if you're familiar with that, it's where they take stem cells from either shark or bovine cows, and they inject you in them to try to restart your system. I was trying everything. And I could feel nodes in my neck, and sometimes they would get big, and sometimes they get small, and every morning I'd be like obsessively touching, oh, maybe I should, maybe, oh. And so I talked to the doctor, and I love this woman. She's fabulous. 2 of the 4 balloons they gave me for my birthday continue to adhere to the ceiling. It is almost the end of November. Dr. Sonria comes into my room for her afternoon hello. I'm reading the newspapers online. Here's my chance. After asking me how I am feeling and palpating my neck, she sits on my bed. I look down at her kind face. So how am I doing? Well, everyone is different. You'll have a PET scan in 8 weeks, and that will show us. What does that mean? Yes, well, given that everyone is different, how am I doing? Corinna, it is now time for you to pray. You must pray. Pray? Pray? What the hell is that? Whoa. Well, seriously, are we in some witch voodoo place where we pray to the placebo gods? She might have a good point. No one can guarantee you any part of anything in this life. At least hers is an honest answer. Okay, thanks. I smile at her. Dr. Sonria gives me a hug and leaves. How is that different from meditation and visualization? We're moving closer to God with all of this. Remember, it is just vocabulary. I grew up an atheist, so the word God was a pretty scary concept for me. The door shuts behind Dr. Sonria, and I stare unseeingly at the computer screen. Please, please, universe, make me well. I want to live. I want to live. So, we seem to have had another voice join our internal italic voices. We've got cute Dr. Sonria with her Corinna. We have my internal italic voice. We have fear, or one could say the devil, or doubt, or despair, or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Vocabulary, it's not important. But the point is the part of your psyche that tells you things are going to go wrong, things are not going to work, this is never going to work, people are making fun of me, whatever it is.